G'day Spurs fans, Paul Hotspur hippie here, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. Beautiful day, the sun is about to set here in Sydney. But I felt like just going for a walk to the shops instead of burning some fossil fuel, which I do lots of times anyway, so I'm not being a moralist on that one. I'd just like to have a talk and a ramble and a thought that's crossed my mind today, and it's been sparked off by an article I saw. Forgotten who did it. That's not really important. But if you remember during last season when one of those memes started up about Tottenham and set pieces, and Ange was under pressure from just check my microphone. Ange was under pressure from in the press conference because I think Vicario had been bundled over in 2 successive games. It was only 2. It was sorted out after that. Crisis at Spurs with set pieces. We're always conceding goals from set pieces. We're never scoring goals from set pieces. And Ange was very direct about it, and I agree with Ange's stance on this one. It's like if you're basing your training around playing the beautiful game of football, why would you want to take hours out of that to doctor up some fake corners and things like that, at the expense of playing the game? When, to me, if you get your football right, then you're going to concede less corners, less free kicks, you're going to be tighter, and that to me is how you solve the problem of set pieces. And the things that weren't really apparent at the time, and I did a little bit of digging on this at the time, about if Tottenham are that bad at set pieces, how do we compare against other teams? And I think at that stage we were like 4th or 5th, roughly our league position. So it wasn't like a huge anomaly or anything like that. And the press, because they're a bunch of weirdos, a lot of them, and a lot of Spurs YouTube, because they like being feisty about things, we're getting on Ange's case about all this. And when your journalism relies on right or wrong, but those rights or wrongs are really just flowered up opinions. The journalism's moved away from just presenting this is what's happening at the moment, or this is what's extremely likely to happen, to just pulling stuff out your arse, and maybe dressing it up with a few cherry-picked stats to make it look as if it is the truth. There's nothing of the sort, man, nothing of the sort. The problem is when you go down that path, you then have to spend an awful lot of time, because obviously if you're going down that path, being right or wrong is very important to you. And I think that's fair enough with a journalist, which is why they should pull their heads in a bit more. But when things turn out to be not so much the case, you still have to scurry around and find another narrative to fit the truth that you were talking about. Now, when Spurs hired Neil Hamilton from was it Neil? Who's their new coach from? Is it Neil Hamilton from Hamilton Academicals? Man, so it's been a long day. Still don't know. We've had a new coach come in, and I saw this article that was saying, well, Ange is actually bringing in a set-piece coach. How do you know that? You don't. Sorry, my alarm went off. That was an alarm I set, by the way, to remind me when the closing of the winter transfer window is. but it's just set for every Tuesday now. So look at that, beautiful, beautiful. Can I get the exposure right on that? There we go. And you know, I see these narratives about Tottenham. I mean, that's just one example. Another one that gets flipped around, you know, is, well, it depends. It depends what our last results were. Either it's Tottenham always bring out their A game against good opposition, but then cock it up against lesser teams. Now that's changed because we've been beating the teams we should have been beaten, to we never beat the top teams. And you pick an arbitrary moment in time, last season, and you say, look, we haven't beaten any top teams since like December. You say, well, why did you happen to pick December? Why didn't you pick August? It's only a few months beforehand, wasn't it? Because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the stir 'em up narrative. So over the next 2 weeks, I wonder how the narrative will change. I make no bones on this channel. Football to me is all about emotion. And I'm sure that having done a bit of sport in my life as well, it's that feeling that drives players. It's not about facts. If you take the emotion out of football, what have you got left with? Why would you watch it? Why would you care? Caring is an emotion. So all I do on this channel is tell you what I reckon. And often it's wishful thinking and fanciful. And often I'm wrong. Hey, what can you do, man, eh? What can you do? That's the way I want to do it. I'm no expert. The only thing I suppose I'm an expert in is kind of following Tottenham and wanting to win all the time, you know, and win quads and God knows what. And at the end of the year, if we end up winning nothing, oh well, 2025, 2026, 2027, going to get the same old crap from me year after year after year. But see, you know, I find it interesting how I see people squirming and shifting around when things don't, when circumstances change. So like I say, we've gone from a team that can't beat bad teams to a team that can't beat good teams. And it depends when your reference point is. You know, you can move it to March, April last week. You know, I could draw a line in the sand now and say, well, since my arbitrary point in time, we haven't won any games. That's how nonsense it is. Especially when you know, do something silly like stitching together 2 seasons in some sort of pretend form table that doesn't exist. There isn't a trophy or an award for form. The only time that ever applies is at the end of 38 games at the end of the season. When it's done, it's done. You dust yourself off and you move on. And you keep going. Oh, a few cars on the road tonight. That's one of the reasons I'm very wary of using stats when it comes to things like football, because it is an emotional game, it's a human game. And as soon as you like looking at stats, it makes you, I'd say it reinforces your bias. So I can watch a game and we could be rubbish one week and great the next week, and I'll be happy because of the last result. Whereas if you start building up a library of numbers that don't mean anything, it just sticks you in, doesn't it? You're then looking, perhaps, for your hypothesis to be disproven, or if it is disproven, you've got to find a way of tap dancing it around. Because for some people out there, it's all about being right and wrong. It's football, man. There's no rights and wrongs, dude. So I'm nearly at the shop now. The other thing is we've got, 3 days left in the transfer window. There's the main rumours I'm seeing is that the Celso and Regulon and Manor Solomon might be going off for loans or sailing. I'm alright with all that. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if we're going to be making any more purchases, and I think overall, I think you've got to say it's a good window. I give the outgoings, I'd say, an 8 out of 10 at the moment, and the incomings after seeing the after seeing the players play, I'll probably give that a 7 at the moment. If we do shift on Celso and Regulon, that for me is a 10 out of 10 outgoing window. And in just over 1 year, we've reset the clock a lot at Tottenham. People say nothing's changed. Well, we're not bringing on Eric Dyer, Emerson Royale anymore. That's a huge change, man, a huge change. Anyway, here we are. Ooh, Aldi, look at that. Ooh, wonder what's up the middle aisle. All right, folks, peace and love, man, peace and love, and come on, you Spurs.